Notice there's any tension between the space of your eyebrows. Invite your jaw to relax. Maybe open and close your mouth a few times. Inviting a little more space and softness into the face, into the cheeks. You're welcome to let the eyes close or to just have a gentle gaze, not really needing to focus on anything in sight. Let your head feel heavy, supported. And then notice the back of your neck. And let the back of the neck be spacious, softening the place where the skull meets. Notice any tension through your shoulders. Invite the shoulders to rest away from the ears, draping over the blanket roll, over the support. Take your time as you continue connecting with your body, scanning through. Begin to feel the chest and the belly moving as you breathe in and out. Maybe observing any sensation through the spine in this gentle supported back bend, this supported chest opener. See if you can soften through the belly and through the rib cage. Letting go of any unnecessary gripping or tension. We tend to hold tension in the belly. Oftentimes we don't even notice. It's kind of a subconscious reaction. And see if you can invite some softness into the belly. Softening the side body and the low back. The back of the rib cage. Feeling the lungs expanding and opening as you breathe. And then notice any tension through the hips and through the low back and the pelvic floor. In whatever position your legs are in, just inviting the legs to feel supported. Releasing any gripping or tension. Maybe observing behind the knee, through the feet. Soften your arms and your hands. And now I invite you to bring your whole body into your awareness. Could even play with the idea of having a bird's eye view, or imagining that you're seeing yourself from the view of your ceiling, encompassing the whole body where you're at in this moment. Nothing to change or do about what you're envisioning, just allowing the awareness of your presence to be in your mind's eye. You can invite a sense of softness into the body, gentle encouragement to release into the support, release into the support of gravity a little bit more. And then take a moment to shift your awareness to your breath. Feel the gentle rise and fall of the belly and the chest as you breathe in and out. And take a moment to observe the rhythm of your breath. Maybe it feels smooth or choppy, deep or shallow, warm or cool, knowing that there's no right or wrong. There's no need to change anything or to judge what's present through the breath, just observing, feeling into and connecting to this prana, this life force within you. And then I invite you to bring your awareness to your mind. Observing any thoughts that might be rolling around. Just noticing what's present. You can observe them like a cloud floating by, not needing to latch on or to change. Just viewing them and acknowledging that thoughts are present. And then I invite you to shift the awareness to your emotional body, or the energetic body. Observing any sensations through the body. Observe any emotions or feelings that might be present for you this morning. Allowing whatever is there to just be. There's no right or wrong, no good or bad through emotions. They just are, and this is just a chance for you to be aware, to be present with yourself, checking in. And if you feel drawn or inclined to set an intention this morning, you're welcome to do that mentally. It can be something as simple as just wanting to feel the breath, to feel the movement of your body. It can be sending love or support to yourself or to someone else. Maybe it's a one word, intention. There's no right or wrong. And it's fine if this doesn't feel authentic for you this morning either. Just presenting an opportunity to set that if you'd like. And when you're ready, begin to bring the awareness to the space that you're in. And start to find some gentle movement, maybe first through the fingers and the toes. It may feel nice to bend the knees if they're not, and let them rock side to side or to lengthen your legs out. Any gentle movement coming back to the room. You're welcome to stretch the arms above head or wide. If this feels good for you this morning, checking in with what gentle movement starts to feel like. And then when you're ready, you can either roll to one side to scoot the blanket out from underneath you, or if it feels better to help yourself up, take your time adjusting. And then setting that to the side, come back onto your back. And take a moment to find your strap or whatever support you have. You can use as an extension of your arms. Once you have that close by, lying on your back, just take a moment to let the knees rock side to side, taking a few windshield wiper movements. You could even invite the knees to be a little wider apart, and taking these a little bit of a bigger movement, starting to massage through the low back, observing what sensations you might feel from the gentle chest opener, through the collarbone area, and through the shoulders. And then when you're ready, you can bring the knees back to center. Use your strap for support. Place the strap on the bottom of your right foot and take the right leg up. Reaching up toward the ceiling, you can begin to take some movement rolling through the ankle here. Exploring rotations in one direction and then the other a few times. And take some movement, pointing the toes up toward the ceiling and then drawing them back down, flexing the foot. Maybe squeezing and spreading the toes a few times as you do this, beginning to open up. And take a moment to just observe what sensations are present through the back of the leg, through the hamstring and the calf muscle. Just noticing. And the next time you flex the foot, pause here. And then take a few side-to-side movement through the leg or tick-tocking movements. These can be really small, or you could play with taking these a little bit larger, as long as you're maintaining connection through the left side body, through the hip and the rib cage, just gently letting the leg rock side to side. And then let those turn into circles, going one direction a few times, large or small. And then you can switch directions if you haven't yet. Continue to feel your breath, inviting the breath to move into the belly, into the pelvic floor. As you're ready, bring the right leg back to center. And take a moment to turn the right toes to the right and let the leg open to your right any amount. We're being mindful here that you're staying connected through the left side. You could let the left knee fall out to the side for counterbalance. For some of you, it may feel better to lengthen the left leg out, or to even lift your foot gently away from your mat. So it's fine to explore what feels best for you, keeping the connection through the rib cage, through the hip on your left. And take several deep breaths here as you start to notice the sensation through the inner thighs. As you open through the right leg, observing any discomfort or spaciousness being created. Invite your shoulders and your jaw to soften and relax. And with your next inhale, bring the right leg up, back to center. And take a moment to root the back of the right hip down and take the right leg to the left, just a few inches here. You can keep a little bit of action in this position by rooting the back of the right hip down and then actively pressing the foot up toward the ceiling. Engaging through the thigh, feel the stretch through the outer hip, through the IT band, maybe observing any sensation traveling all the way to the ankle even, depending on your body. Take some deep breath here. And then with your next inhale, bring the right leg back to center. Take a moment to release your strap and find some neutralizing movement. It may feel nice to lengthen the right leg out, or to hug the knees in, or even just to let the knees rock side to side. No right or wrong, take your time. And with your knees bent, using your strap for support when you're ready, place it on the bottom of the left foot and take the leg up toward the ceiling. Again, starting by rolling out the ankle, excuse me, finding some movement for the foot and the toes. You can explore some pointing and flexing movements. Squeezing and spreading the toes. And when you feel ready, you can begin to play with tick-tocking movement or some gentle side-to-side movement, beginning to open up a little more into the hip, drawing awareness into the hip socket. Allow those to turn into circles, exploring one direction a few times. Again, these can be large or small as you maintain connection through the right side, feeling the hip rooted down here. And go the other way if you haven't yet. When you're ready, you can bring the leg back to center. Take a moment to turn the toes to the left and allow your leg to open to the left any amount. Adjust the right leg as you need to find support. So the back of the rib cage is still rooted down. The hips are connected to the mat. And then take a moment here just to observe any unnecessary gripping or tension. Invite that to be released as you breathe into the belly, as you open through the inner thigh and the hip. And with your inhale, bring the left leg up. Take a moment here to root the back of the left hip down, and then take the left leg over to your right, just a few inches. You can keep a little bit of action here by rooting the hip down and then actively pressing your leg up toward the ceiling. Observe what sensations are present. And with your next breath, you can bring the leg back to center, release the strap, and you can set that to the side. Take some neutralizing movement. And if it feels okay for you, take a moment to hug your knees in toward the chest. You could also play with holding the tops of the knees, having the feet and the knees a little more at a 90-degree angle. If having them in toward the chest doesn't work for you. And then start to take some circles here. You can play with going clockwise a few times. And then reverse, going the other way. And then when you're ready, you can release the hands and bring the knees to a 90-degree angle. Imagine that the feet are resting on a coffee table. And take a moment to root the back of the rib cage down, feeling the low back settle into the mat. Invite your shoulders to soften. And then take a moment just to observe the engagement of the low belly here. Observe what sensations you feel through the belly as these inner abdominal muscles begin to awaken. The support system for the pelvic floor and the low back. And then maintaining this angle through the knees as you're ready, you can begin to play with lowering one heel at a time toward the mat. It may or may not reach, and that's fine. So you want to be mindful that you're still rooting the back of the rib cage down. Keeping that connection, keeping the breath flowing. Notice any other areas that want to try to help here. And if this is feeling okay and you want a little bit more, you could play with lowering both heels at a time toward the floor. Again, adjusting as you need for your body, finding the support. Keep breathing. Take one more full round. Once you are finished, you can release the legs, maybe hug them into the chest. It may feel nice to lengthen all the way out or to let the knees rock side to side. Take your time. Maybe take a full body stretch as you breathe into the belly, feeling the warmth. And with your knees bent, when you're ready, gently roll to one side. Use your hands for support and help yourself up. Coming into any comfortable seat. If it doesn't work for you to sit cross-legged, you can sit with the legs lengthened out or take the legs wide. You're going to begin to open up through the side body here. If you need to sit up on something, you can use your blanket for support or a pillow. Finding a space where the low back can open up. The base of the spine isn't rounding under, tucking through the tailbone. All right, when you're ready, bring the right hand to the floor beside you. Inhale the left arm up and exhale, bow. Reaching up and over, think about keeping the ribcage open, opening through the shoulders. Your gaze can be any direction here, so if you want to play with what feels good for the neck, it's fine to adjust where the gaze is at. And think about keeping some action through the left arm as you reach up and over, creating space through the side body. Take 2 more deep breaths, in and out. And with your next inhale, come up. As you exhale, reach the right arm up and over. Again, rotating the rib cage open, let the shoulders relax away from the ears. And think about extending the right arm out as you invite space into the side body, observing any sensation here. It's fine to adjust your gaze again. With your inhale, come up, and exhale and release. Take a moment to roll out the shoulders. Going one way a few times, and then go the other way. You can even bring the hands up to the shoulders if this feels okay. All right, take a moment to bring the hands out in front of you, up onto fingertips. And then when you're ready, start to walk the hands forward. Any amount is fine. You're going to think about pressing the rib cage back and let the head release. So the side view of this, you're going to press the hands into the mat or into the floor, and then think about shifting the weight back into the hips as you round through the rib cage. And let the head release and take some deep breath here. Soften through your jaw, soften the neck. And from here, start to walk the hands over to your right, any amount. Could walk them over the right leg or just a few inches to the right, finding what feels best for you this morning, today. And with your next inhale, walk the hands back to center. And then as you exhale, take the hands to your left. Again, any amount is fine. Reaching the rib cage back. Let your head release. Start to notice what sensation you feel here through the side and back body, through the lat muscle resting underneath the rib cage. Maybe even all the way down to the low back or to the hip. And with your inhale, bring the hands back to center and help yourself up. Take a moment here to bring the hands behind you. So I'm going to give you a couple options. Option one is to keep the hands on the floor, and then you can start to walk the hands back. So almost taking a opposite stretch here. Option two, if it works for you, you can play with interlacing the fingers, the hands behind you, and then thinking about reaching the arms back, drawing the shoulder blades down the body. So a couple different variations you can play with. From here, you want to think about opening through the heart. And then if it feels okay, maybe even lifting the chin toward the ceiling or away from the chest. Exploring whatever variation feels good for you today. And then take a few deep breaths. See if you can breathe into the belly. And then into the chest as you open the heart. On the exhale, bring the torso back to center. And take a moment to roll out the shoulders. Let go of any tension, just observing. All right, when you're ready, you can transition into table, coming onto hands and knees. If you need support under the knees, it's fine to use your blanket here or a pillow. And then if you have blocks or books, you may want to have those within reach or toward the front of your mat. It's also fine if you don't have support. So just listening to what you may need this morning. But starting on hands and knees, let the wrists be underneath the shoulders. And the knees under the hips, moving into cat and cow breath as you're ready. On the inhale, open through the heart. And then as you exhale, press into the hands, reaching the rib cage up toward the ceiling. It's a similar movement that we just did seated. We're getting a little bit deeper into the linear range of motion here through the spine. It's fine to take circular movement if that feels better for you. Maybe extending through the cats and cows feels good. Take your time checking in, exploring authentic movement here as you connect through the spine. If there's any discomfort in the knees, you can also tuck the toes here, giving a little bit more support for the knees. And notice if the teeth are clenching or any tension through the jaw, between the eyebrows. See if you can let that go. And as you explore this movement, I invite you to bring your awareness to your hands for a moment, feeling the support of the palms pressing into the mat, shifting the weight into the index finger and the thumb pad, protecting your wrist, letting the other finger pads support you, keeping a little bit of strength, a little bit of support here, holding yourself up. Take 1 or 2 more rounds. With your inhale, come back to the center. Take a moment to step the right foot back. From here, you can draw the rib cage in, engaging through the belly. And then on the inhale, lift the right toes just a few inches away from the mat. Doesn't have to go far. Think about opening through the heart, so the gaze is forward. And if you want to play with a little bit of balancing here, you can bring the left hand a little more in front of you onto fingertips, or you could play with reaching the arm out in front. It's also fine here taking tapping movement, exploring where your balance is at. Keep breathing. Think about engaging through the right leg, so maybe even flexing the foot here, hugging the muscle into the bone, finding that support. Then on the exhale, release. And then when you're ready, step the left leg back, second side. Take a moment to draw in through the rib cage. And then when you're ready, lift the left toes a few inches away from the mat. Again, thinking about extending through the heart, you could play with reaching the right hand forward or out in front. Soften your jaw, keep breathing. Good, on the exhale, release. And take a moment here to walk the knees back. Preparing for downward dog, you can tuck your toes, press into the hands, lift your hips up and back. And take a moment here to pedal out the feet, finding a little bit of movement. Start to notice the strength in your arms. Any sensation through the spine. And then take a moment to bend both of your knees. Pressing into the hands, you're going to think about reaching the heart back as you extend the tail up toward the ceiling. Nice long spine here. Take a couple breaths here. It's fine to keep the knees bent. It feels like you have the space through the hamstrings and the low back to straighten the legs here. It's also fine to take that variation, but it may feel better just to keep the knees bent. Take one more deep breath, in and out. And then when you're ready, look to the front of your mat and walk the feet to the front, coming into forward fold. It's fine to keep the knees bent here as well. Releasing through the head and the neck. You're welcome to hold opposite elbows here, or to let the arms dangle. Maybe even take some gentle side to side swaying movement as you start to notice the low back, how this feels. This is a great place to release any tension through the head or neck, shaking yes and no. Touching shins or knees on your inhale, lift halfway up. On the exhale, fold forward, press into the feet, sweep your arms out and up, lift and rise, reaching all the way up toward the ceiling here. Arms are active, let the shoulders rest away from the ears. Think about rooting the feet down. And from here, when you're ready, find your left wrist. Inhale, lengthen up toward the ceiling, and exhale, reach up and over to the right. With your inhale, come up, and finding your right wrist. When you're ready, inhale, lengthen, and reach up and over to your left. Good. Inhale, come up. As you exhale, fold all the way forward, coming all the way down. Release the head. With your next inhale, lift halfway up. And on the exhale, fold. Take a moment here to find your blocks, if you have those, or books, whatever you're using for support. You can also just bring the hands to the mat on your fingertips if you'd like. And then when you're ready, step the left foot back. Moving into lunge. Your back knee can be up or down, so if this feels too intense for you today, it's fine to release the knee through the back leg. Take your time checking in with what you need, observing how this feels for the body. And take a moment to check in with the alignment of your right leg. So allow the knee to be stacked on top of the ankle. And then think about reaching through the heart, opening through the spine. With the left hand grounded, inhale, open to the right, reaching up toward the ceiling, or let the hand rest on your low back. Good, exhale, release. And then when you're ready, step the left foot forward. You can adjust however you need to, coming back into forward fold. And with your inhale, lift halfway up. On the exhale, fold. And when you're ready, step the right foot back, moving into the second side. Again, back knee can be up or down, so take your time checking in. And feeling the left leg over the ankle, the left knee. Reach the heart forward. Feel your breath. And this time with the right hand grounded, inhale, open to the left. Reaching up toward the ceiling or to the low back. Even the top of the thigh would be fine here as well. Good, exhale, release. Take a moment to set the back knee down if it isn't already. Set your blocks or the support to the side. Bring your hands to the mat, transitioning into table, and then up and back into downward dog. Find some movement here, pedal out the feet. Again, it may feel nice to keep the knees bent in your downward dog, reaching the heart back toward the thighs. Finding some length through the spine here. Take some breath. With your inhale, come forward into plank. Knees can be up or down. Think about keeping the spine long as you press the shoulder blades up toward the ceiling. And on the exhale, lower all the way to your belly. From here, you can play with lifting one leg and then the other, finding a little more support. Opening through the low back. And take a moment to press the tops of the feet down. And then think about drawing the inner thighs toward one another. Lifting the rib cage up when you're ready. Inhale, come up onto forearms. Moving into Sphinx pose. The elbows can be under the shoulders or a little further away would be fine too. And with the engagement of the belly, think about opening through the heart. And take some deep breath. Take one more breath in here. And then on the exhale, lower all the way down. You can stack your hands to rest the head for a moment. It may feel nice to bend your knees and let them rock side to side, neutralizing if you need, or just letting the hips rock. And we're going to take a little bit of movement here to open up and strengthen the low back. So when you're ready, you can release the legs, maybe lifting one leg and then the other again, finding that support. I'd like to give you a couple different options here. So option one, you can keep the hands to the outside of the rib cage on the mat. Option two will be a little bit more challenging, and that's reaching the arms behind you. We're going to play with just a little bit of inhale and exhale movement. So when you're ready, you the legs down, drawing the inner thighs toward one another. And then inhale the head and chest up any amount. And then following the rhythm of your breath as you exhale, begin to lower back down. And then with the next inhale, coming up. As you exhale, lower. You can use the hands for support along the rib cage if you need to. Keep breathing. Find your own pace. Let the movement be really soft and subtle here. Following the breath. Take one more. On the exhale, lower all the way down. Stack your hands. Let the head release. And pause here for a moment. And then when you're ready, you can bend the knees and let the feet rock side to side, letting go of any tension. And when you're ready, bring the hands to the rib cage, tuck your toes, moving into downward dog. When you're ready, you can press up into table first, and then all the way back. And find some movement here, pedal out the feet. And when you're ready, look to the front of your mat. On the exhale, step forward, coming into forward fold. You can take ragdoll if you'd like. And with your inhale, lift halfway up. On the exhale, fold. And press into the feet, sweep the arms out and up, lift and rise. Hands can rest at your side or in front of your heart. Take a moment here to notice what you feel. Feel the warmth in your body. Feel the feet rooted down. Crown of the head reaching up toward the ceiling as you invite the shoulders to relax. Take one more deep breath in and out here. And if they're not already, you can release the hands. And then we're going to move into pyramid pose this morning. So continuing to focus on opening through the spine and then also getting a little more into the hamstring this morning as well. So standing at the top of your mat, you're going to step the left foot back just a few feet. So it doesn't have to be far. I like to give myself a little bit more space by imagining that my feet are on railroad tracks, so having a little more of a staggered stance. And then the left toes will be pointed a little more at a 45-degree angle, so finding that support. You can turn the hips forward, so thinking about your front hip points, reaching those forward. And then from here, when you're ready, inhale the arms up. And as you exhale, start to fold forward. So the hands can rest wherever they land. If that is not on the mat for you, maybe just on the right leg, you can keep the hands on your hips as you let the head release, finding your balance. If you have your blocks within reach or use blocks for support, you could also use those. Notice any gripping or tension through your jaw. And from here, bring the hands to your hips if they're not already. And on the inhale, press into the feet, come all the way up. And then take a moment to bring the hands behind you, interlacing the fingers, or if you have a strap, you could play with that, holding on to the strap. Take a breath in here, opening through the heart, and then as you exhale, think about reaching the arms down toward the floor, opening through the shoulders, drawing the shoulder blades down the spine. Keep breathing. If having the hands together doesn't work, and you don't have a strap or a rope to hold on to, you could also just take the hands wide. This could be another variation for that. Good. On the exhale, release, and inhale the arms all the way up to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, twist open to the right. Keep breathing. Take one more breath. On the inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, release the arms. Step the left foot forward. And then when you're ready, step the right foot back. Second side, take your time. Again, you can find your railroad track stance. Turning the right foot a little more at a 45-degree angle. Drawing the front hip points forward as long as this feels okay for you. And then when you're ready, inhale the arms up. And exhale, fold forward. Hands can rest wherever they land. You could play with keeping the hands at your heart or on the hips or using blocks. And think about inviting your head to release. And take some breath. Notice what sensation you feel through the hamstring and the low back. And from here, when you're ready, bring the hands to the hips, press into the feet, inhale, come up. And when you're ready, take the hands behind you. Again, you can play with interlacing the fingers, keeping the arms apart, or using a strap or a rope here to hold on to. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, think about reaching the hands down toward the floor, opening through the heart. It's fine to even turn the gaze up if this feels okay. If you're feeling balanced. Think about keeping the right leg active. You're reaching the back of the knee behind you as you open through the heart. Take one more breath. On the exhale, release the arms, and then inhale the arms all the way up toward the ceiling. And then as you exhale, open to the left. Keep breathing. One more breath, in and out. With the inhale, reach the arms up. And then as you exhale, release the hands to your side, step the right foot forward. And then take a moment just to pedal out the feet, check in. All right, when you're ready, inhale the arms all the way up. And exhale, fold all the way forward. With your next inhale, lift halfway up. On the exhale, fold, place your hands for downward dog, step the feet back. Pedal out the feet a time or two, not gonna be here long. And then when you're ready, release your knees together or wide. You can let your hips sit back toward the heels, taking child's pose. And let your head release. If this doesn't work for you, you could also take extended puppies, so keeping the tail lifted, thinking about reaching the heart toward the floor, maybe stacking the hands to let your head rest. And take a few deep breaths. Think about bringing the breath to the back of your rib cage, through the lungs that sit along the back body. Take one more deep breath in and all the way out. And from here, when you're ready, you can transition out, helping yourself up. And then in whatever way makes sense, make your way onto your back. Take your time. Lying on your spine, you may want to have support for your head or neck. And with the knees bent here, take the right ankle over the top of your left thigh, creating a figure four, moving into eye of the needle. It's fine to stay here. If you want a little bit more, you can reach through or use a strap behind the left leg to hug the knees in towards your chest. And take a moment to flex the right foot, so drawing the toes back toward the knee or toward the shin. Finding a little more engagement for the hip extender, opening through the outside of the right hip. Observe any sensations. If it feels good to take some rocking movement, it's fine to play with that. And let the back of your neck be long. Let the shoulders rest away from the ears. And take 2 or 3 more breaths. And from here, when you're ready, you can release the legs, uncross the right leg, and take some neutralizing movement. So maybe lengthening out or hugging the knees in feels good. Take your time. Maybe just letting them rock side to side. And with the knees bent, when you're ready, you can move to the second side. Take the left ankle over the top of the right thigh. Maybe reaching through, hugging them in. And continue to find some flexion through the left foot, drawing the toes back toward the knee. This gives a little more support for the knee, having the foot flexed. Even though you may feel a little more engagement through the outside of the hip, it's still inviting some protection for the knee. Continue breathing deeply. Take one more full breath in and all the way out. And when you're ready, you can release the legs, find some neutralizing movement. And take a moment here to bend your knees if they're not. And reach the arms above head. And then keeping the shoulder blades connected to the floor, to the mat underneath you. Take a moment to bring the arms up and over to your right. And you can let the arms rest on the floor, and then from here, let the knees fall to your left. Taking a gentle twist, gentle side opener. See if you can invite the breath to move a little deeper into the belly, into the side body. And when you're ready, bring the arms back to center. Bring the knees back to center. And then from here, you can walk the arms over to the left, letting the shoulder blades rest on the floor. You can let the knees fall to the right this time, stretching in the opposite direction. Take a few deep belly breaths. And when you're ready, you can bring the arms back to center. Bring the legs back to center. Take a moment here to hug the knees in toward your chest or to let them rock side to side. Giving another moment of support for the low back. If there are any other movements you feel like you need or want to make, take your time exploring that. And then when you're ready, you can start to transition into any comfortable resting pose. If you want to have support, you can have that. If it feels better to lay on your side or on your belly, it's fine to explore any position that feels comfortable for you, providing an opportunity for your body to absorb the movements that you've made. Taking a pause for your mind. And take a moment to just notice any unnecessary gripping or tension. Soften through your jaw. Soften the space between your eyebrows. Let your shoulders relax. And as you continue resting and scanning through, take a moment to notice your breath. Not needing to change the breath, just invite an awareness of the inhale and the exhale. Invite any thoughts rolling around to just be set aside. Know that they will be there later. They'll come back. If you set an intention for your practice, you're welcome to let the mind sit on that intention for a moment. Allowing it to go to where it's meant to be. Releasing it into the earth, whether it was support for yourself or someone else. And take a moment just to notice any other subtle place in the body that you can invite tension to be released. Maybe through the belly or the hips. Maybe the arms or the legs. And the hands or the feet. Or through the face. Give yourself permission to release another 5 to 10%, softening a little bit more. I'm not needing to change anything. Let's take a moment to become aware of your breath. Notice the weight of your bones, your body resting on the support underneath you. And if it feels good for you, I invite you to allow the inhale and the exhale to be the same length, taking a few rounds of equalizing breath. Can even be just for the count of 3 or 4, in and out, the same length. Not needing to change the depth of your breath necessarily. Just allowing the inhale to flow in and out in the same count. If you're exploring equalizing the breath, notice the reaction of your body. You may find a little more softening, a little more settling happening. There's no right or wrong, just notice. Maybe it's something as simple as your mind becoming quiet as you focus on the count of your breath, no other thoughts coming in and out. Being mindful, present in this moment. Take one more round. And at the bottom of the exhale, you can let that go, inviting awareness into the room when you're ready. Begin to find some gentle movement, coming back to the space that you're in. And when you're ready, you can begin to transition, either rolling to one side or using the hands for support. Make your way into any comfortable seat. It's fine to keep the eyes closed or to have a gentle gaze. And then if it feels okay for you, inhale the arms all the way up. Bring the palms together and to your heart, sealing in your practice. Take a moment to extend gratitude outward to one another, to this collective experience. And then bring your gratitude inward to yourself, honoring this time that you've taken to connect to the breath and to the body, to create space. And when you're ready, take one more deep breath in and all the way out. I thank you each for joining in this morning, for who you are. It's my honor, and I bow to you. Namaste.